E.T. phono. E.T. Guys, we're supposed to be ASMR and very super chill. So I like the microphone. Hello, microphone.
Welcome back to week 10, everyone. The final week of the term. I hope you guys have bought your seatbelts because we are buckling in, we are locking in to learn and love about Jesus. And the summary, the epitome, the pointiness of the mountain of Purpose 101. I'm so keen. Guys, how keen are you?
I'm so excited.
Fantastic. Rio, what's been happening?
Oh, well, I'm so excited for the school holidays, honestly. And in saying that, I've been buying some new wardrobe. I've been buying a lot of these little shirts with animals on them. You would have seen that I had some with goldfish.
Yeah.
It's
in fashion.
And you would have seen the last couple of episodes that I had this cute little piggy with a little bow. So let me know what other animal t-shirts I should buy because I don't know what else.
Bison.
I'm not buying a spider. Don't even.
With that being said, guys, get excited. Pastor Jake is going to share one last message on Purpose 101. Like Noah said, the mountaintop, the peak. And it's all about what is in your hands. I'm excited for this. So guys, let us head on over and watch Pastor Jake. Yeah.
Hey everyone, my name's Jake. I'm a youth pastor here in Brisbane, Australia. I was actually born and raised in Melbourne. I then lived in the Philippines for about 4 years. That's why my accent's a little bit American and a little bit weird. And then about 2.5 years ago, I moved here to Brisbane. I love being a youth pastor. Every week I get to spend time with hundreds of students and going to high schools and just hang out with students. And I love it. I believe in this next generation so much. And so I just love what I get to do. Today, I want to talk to you about, and I wonder if you've ever felt like you're just not good enough for something. I wonder if you ever felt like you're just not enough for something. I've had many moments like this in my life. I think if we're honest, we all have moments like this in our life. I can think of one particular moment in my life where I felt like I wasn't enough. It was when I met what was my future wife. At this point, she was just a girl that I knew from my church, but she was my future wife. I remember meeting this girl, and one of the craziest things about her is that she was a competitive CrossFit athlete. Now, if you don't know what CrossFit is, I would highly suggest you don't do CrossFit. It is crazy. It's my worst nightmare. You gotta run everywhere. You gotta do a crazy amount of burpees. They're lifting big weight, and they do it all as fast as they can, almost to the point of vomiting, and then they rest for a little bit, and then they do it again. It's my worst nightmare. It's terrible. Anyway, but my wife was a competitive CrossFit athlete. I met her, I was 19 years old when I met her, and one of the first things we did when we hung out together was I went to watch one of her CrossFit competitions, and this thing was crazy. I have never felt so insecure in my life. You can probably tell through the camera, I'm not the biggest, most jacked guy. I spent a lot of my teenage years insecure about my weight and trying to eat protein and go to the gym and try and get bigger muscles. So I've never felt so insecure as this moment walking in to see my future wife in a CrossFit competition. She's lifting crazy amounts of weight, and here I am. I remember this one moment where she was doing this exercise where it's like they push the weight above their head, and I realized she was lifting like double what I could even lift doing that. It was crazy. I felt so insecure, and I walked away from that moment. I remember the moment walking out of the venue for the CrossFit competition just feeling like, man, I am not good enough for this girl. She can lift more than me, she's more fit than me, she's so much better than me. I felt like I wasn't good enough. And I know it's a bit of a funny story, but it was kind of serious for me at the time. I wonder if you've ever had a moment like that where you just feel like you're not good enough. I don't know what it is for you, but I think if we're honest, we all have moments in our lives where we feel like we're not good enough. Maybe you've had a moment like that. Maybe for you, it's in your school. You just feel inadequate in your school. Maybe you feel like you're not smart enough. You don't have enough good grades that you're getting in school. Maybe you just feel like you're not good enough in school. Maybe for you, it's socially. Maybe you feel like I'm not cool enough. I'm not funny enough. My personality isn't interesting enough. Maybe you feel like you don't have enough gifts or talents to do anything great with your life. And you determine that my life's just gonna be an average, ordinary life because I don't have anything great or unique about me. I think if we're honest, maybe it's different for you, but we all have moments in our lives where we feel like we're not good enough. So we're gonna look at someone in the Bible who was facing exactly the same moment as I was facing in this moment in just a minute.
Thanks again so much, Jake, for an amazing preach part one. That is a very heavy topic, you know? Just the idea of feeling, are we ever good enough for something? I know I've felt in so many different ways that I'm not good enough for something, but yeah, I'm so keen to hear more about what the Bible says about that and what we can learn from Jesus in that area. So that's exciting. But right now, guys, it is our last Get It Done for the term. So what we're gonna do, guys, is some random items gonna come out for each of us, and we have to split that item in half by weight.
Okay.
So I've recorded all the different weights of these items, and we have the total weight.
Item.
So we have to get half of it
Yep.
and put it on the scale, and however close we get to half. If we're the closest to the half, you know,
Get a point.
then we get a point.
Gotcha.
We get a point, right?
Closest gets the point.
Closest
I love
gets
it.
the point. I think it's time to
Get it done. Ben 10.
All right, you go. Rio's gonna go first.
Let's
All right.
go, Rio.
So Rio, I'll bring it out. Broccoli. All right, Rio, you have the broccoli, and the broccoli weighs in total 296 grams.
Oh.
Oh, she's making her first decision. Hesitant. Oh, with confidence.
Oh no, there's literally grams falling on the table. Look at those little broccoli. Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Which one
Which
is
one
half?
is half? 3, 2, 1, go. 153. Ooh.
5 grams off. No way.
That's right. We'll write it down. We'll do the math later.
That was good.
Way.
That was
pretty
great,
good.
in fact.
All right. So Noah's got the next item, which is 3 baguettes.
Forget me, brother.
Of 3 baguettes too, by the way.
Ooh.
I'm okay with that because I think it's a bit wider. Actually, I'm just gonna add that piece to that.
Not of 1, but
Okay.
of 3.
Okay, 358.
537.
6 grams. I'm literally 1 behind Rio. Ay.
Wow, don't do that.
We have got 664 grams.
664. So I need 332 grams.
Correct.
Quick math. I'm just gonna pour. She sells seashells on the seashore.
Is that in or out?
It's in.
All right.
No, it's out.
No!
Okay.
Let's weigh this bad boy.
Let's weigh this bad boy.
Not bad. You're gonna need more though, bro. Oh, that's more. 332.
332. No! I'm so far off!
Wait. This might be
I
it.
thought I got 3 more.
Wow.
All right, Rio's got origami animals, and how much does it weigh now?
220 grams. You're going for 110, Rio. 3, 2, 1, begin. Good one.
That's it. All right. This is
okay,
intense. I'm
that's
actually,
good.
okay, ready? All right.
I'm gonna go piece by piece here. Little piece,
Oh, 4 grams.
I'll
That's
take
looking
that.
good.
big one. 50.
58. That's pretty bang on.
I don't know how we're gonna balance this. Sorry. Wait.
Yeah, you're right, you're right.
Oh,
112! No way!
Jinx, now you can't talk anymore. Anyways, guys, Rio got 112 out of 110. She was supposed to get 1. She's won.
I don't even know. This is literally my hidden talent.
Winner, chicken dinner to Rio. Congratulations. Huge.
Thank you, boys.
2025, the year of Rio. 2024, the year of Noah. 2020. Sorry, Pete doesn't have a year yet.
Sorry. As the winner of term 2, Get It Done's, I am going to do our last throw to preach part 2. So, Jake, we're gonna take it to you right now.
So jumping back in, we're going to look at the story in the Bible of Moses. Moses was an Israelite guy. He had grown up in Egypt. At this point, Israel was under Egyptian rule and they were in captivity in Egypt. In fact, Israel had been in captivity in Egypt for about 400 years. And Moses grew up in this captivity. In fact, Moses was actually raised, funnily enough, in the royal house, in the king's household. He was raised by the king, or the Pharaoh, that was the Egyptian king. He was raised by the Pharaoh's daughter. And so Moses had grown up in the royal house, and Moses is going about his life and he has this incredible moment with God. It's famously known as the burning bush moment, or the burning bush encounter, the burning bush story. But essentially Moses is out walking in the desert one day and he sees this bush that is burning, but it's not burning down, it's just burning and on fire continually. And then the voice of God begins to speak to Moses through this bush. And what God says to Moses through this burning bush is essentially, Moses, I want you to go before Pharaoh to campaign for your people's release from slavery and to lead the Israelites out of Egyptian slavery and and into the promised land. Now you might hear that and think, wow, that's an amazing calling for Moses. He must have been super excited. Moses, in fact, immediately responds with all the reasons why he should not do this. Moses does not respond with excitement. He responds with essentially saying to God, God, I'm not good enough. I can't do this. In fact, it even says in the Bible that Moses protested to God. It says this in Exodus chapter 3, verse 11. But Moses protested to God, who am I to appear before Pharaoh? Who am I to lead the people of Israel out of Egypt? Then it says in Exodus chapter 4, verse 1, but Moses protested again. What if they won't believe me or listen to me? What if they say the Lord never appeared to you? And then one final time in Exodus chapter 4, verse 10, but Moses pleaded with the Lord. He stopped protesting and now he's pleading with the Lord. Oh Lord, I'm not very good with words. I never have been and I'm not now. Even though you have spoken to me, I get tongue-tied and my words get tangled. So Moses right here is giving God all the reasons why God should not use Moses. He does not want to be used by God. He feels like he is not enough to be used by God. I wonder if you've ever had a moment like that where you just think, God couldn't use me. I'm too average. I'm too ordinary. God couldn't use me. That is essentially what Moses is saying to God. God, I'm not enough. You could not use me. But what I love about God in this moment and what is such a powerful truth to understand is that what you see in yourself is so much less than what God sees in you. What God sees in you is so much more powerful than what you see in yourself. And Moses didn't see much in himself, but God saw greatness, he saw leadership, he saw a great vision and calling for Moses's life. And so God used Moses. What I love about this story, what this story shows me, is that God does not use perfect people, but God uses available people. If you would make yourself available to God and say, God, I'm ready to be used by you, then I'm telling you, God will use you in an amazing way. So Moses says to God, well, God, I'm ready to be used by you. But Moses still feels like, man, what I have is not enough. And this is where we arrive at the second important part of the story. God gives Moses a staff. Now what a staff was a big wooden stick. You might think that sounds unspiritual and not very useful. But actually what a staff was something that shepherds would use, as in shepherds of sheep would use in the Old Testament to guide and to direct and to discipline their sheep and pretty much keep their sheep organized and aligned. And shepherds were very much respected in the Old Testament. And so a staff in a shepherd's hand wasn't just a big stick that they used to like keep the sheep in line. A staff in a shepherd's hand was actually a symbol of power and of authority and leadership. And so God gives Moses this staff and he begins to do amazing things through Moses and the staff that he had in his hand. Moses didn't have much, but he did have this staff in his hand. And so God begins to use this staff. Moses, in fact, has a meeting with Pharaoh and he actually throws the staff down on the ground. He feels God speak to him and say, throw the staff down on the ground. The staff turns into a snake. Then Moses picks it up and it turns back into a staff. There's all these amazing moments. There's this amazing story of when Israel is crossing out of Egypt. They're crossing the Red Sea and they hit this moment where they're faced with the Red Sea in front of them and the Egyptians chasing behind them. And God speaks to Moses and he said, Moses, hold up the staff over the waters of the sea and I'm gonna let your people go through. So Moses holds up this staff across the water and the Israelites are able to cross through on dry ground, and then Moses lifts the staff down and the people of Egypt who are chasing after them, trying to pursue them, they are drowned in the water. It's this amazing story of the power that is in a simple staff. And what I love about this story, I said it earlier, Moses didn't have much in his hand, but he did have this staff, this simple staff. But this staff placed under God's power and surrendered to God was an amazing tool for God to use. Moses just had a staff in his hand, but it was a tool for God to use. And so my question to you today is this: you might not feel like you have much, you might feel like you're very average and ordinary, but I wonder today, what do you have in your hand? Because when you take what's in your hand and you surrender it to God, I'm telling you, God will use it in an amazing, powerful way. You might not feel like you have much, but you've got something in your hand that you can use. Maybe you've got a little gift or talent. Maybe you're good at playing the guitar. That's something that you can place in God's hand to be used by God. Maybe you feel like you don't have much, but you've got one or two friends that you can invite along to your youth group or to your church. That's something that God has put in your hand. And when you surrender what is in your hand and give it over to God and say, God, use this thing however you want to use it, I'm telling you, God will use it in an amazing, powerful way. And so I want to encourage you today to take whatever you have in your hand. It might be big or it might feel really, really small and insignificant. To take whatever you have in your hand and to give it over to God and say, God, use me and use this thing that I have in an amazing way. I remember when I was 13 years old and I started learning how to play the guitar. I was terrible at playing the guitar. I didn't know any chords. I was really bad. But I remember just starting at my youth group, which was so small. I remember just starting to play the guitar a little bit, and I placed it in God's hands. Since that time, for the last decade of my life, God has used me in worship teams in different countries. I've been able to play in front of big crowds. It's been amazing, but it started with me taking the little thing that I had and placing it in God's hand and saying, God, use this however you want to use it. So I want to encourage you, whatever you got in your hand, big or small, take it, put it in God's hands, surrender it to God, and say, God, use this however you want to use it, and God will use you in an amazing, amazing way. So today, I want to invite you, just as we finish here, I want to invite you, if you've never had a relationship with Jesus, or today you want to make a decision to have a relationship with Jesus, it's one of the greatest decisions you could ever make today. Maybe as I was speaking, something's just stirring in your heart, you feel your heart beating a little bit quicker, and you know today that you want to have a relationship with Jesus. If that's you, I would love to invite you to say yes to Jesus. You can head to linkyc.com.au, just click the big button that says Jesus, or maybe today if you're with some people, you got someone in your life who you can talk to, tell someone about your decision to follow Jesus. Tell someone that you want to have a relationship with Jesus, and they'll be able to help you with your next steps.
Thank you so much, Pastor Jake, for such an incredible and powerful send-off message. Guys, exactly, wherever you are at, God is going to use you to do amazing, incredible things. So bless those around you, glorify God with what you're doing, glorify God in the season that you are in right now. But speaking of honoring people and congratulating people, Rio, congratulations for winning! Unscripted Season 2, Turn 2, get it done!
Guys, this is my second win. I think in a row.
Yeah, in a row.
Guys, at this point, I am the champion. Representing the girls club of Unscripted Get It Dones. And you know what, in future, who knows, I could be winning more games, more things. But yeah, I'm honoured. You guys have been great sports.
Thank you, Rio.
I got my trophy earlier, which that mug I'm going to take with me. And remember this moment for the rest of my life. High achieving.
Good.
That's for you girls. For you girls.
Yay.
Rio didn't just get it done, she got it done. And that is the W that has now been put on top of her head in a crown for winning. So congratulations, Rio, that is awesome. For the other people that want to get some W's and some W crowns, you can have the opportunity by going to your discussion questions. So make sure at the end of the video, check them out. Talk with your group about what is in your hands. What an amazing message to summarize Purpose 101. God is with you right where you are right now. So think about, what have you got in front of you? What are you gifted in? What are you talented in? What is something that you can bring to the table that you can bless others around you and God with? But guys, I'm Noah.
I'm Peter.
And I'm Rio.
And this has been Unscripted!
Holiday time! Thank you guys again so much for joining us for another term of Unscripted. We'll see you next time.
And until next time, that's all I have to say.
Bye, son! Oh.